let's make some change and talk about this money. You get it? Change, money. Drop them quarters on them. Hey man, you better act like you like what I said.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Gary Payton.
Hey Pat, man. Hey man. Hey, don't make me angry, Pat. You don't want to see me. All right, so I'm gonna let you kind of lead on this one. Russia say they're dropping the U.S. dollar. And your best lessons from the screen rendition. Why is Russia dropping the U.S. dollar?
Well, what they're saying is in the National Wealth Fund, they could possibly be ditching all of their U.S. dollar assets. And they're going to be instead investing in euros, the yuan, which is the Chinese money, and gold.
Oh, right.
And that, according to the article, anyways, is being used as a political move ahead of the President Russia-U.S. summit later this month. But Russia has historically been slowly getting rid of its U.S. dollar holdings for a number of years now. And it's sort of like been seeking, and you saw this with the petrodollar and with a couple other things, it's been trying to remove the U.S.'s role as the fallback currency. The dollar's role is the fallback currency. And as we know, the countries, well, maybe we don't, but the reason why it's such a big deal for the U.S. dollar to be used as a fallback currency is that it gives the U.S. an amazing amount of economic leverage globally. When other countries during deals have to transfer their money to your money, it gives you a lot of leverage and a lot of power. It gives your economy a lot of leverage and a lot of power, and it gives you the ability to do things that other countries can't do.
Bruh.
And it in general makes you more powerful than you otherwise would be. Now, what's up?
The U.S. dollar was 35% of the economy.
Is that what you're reading in the article?
Yeah, that's what I just came across. The U.S. dollar was 35% of the economy. Because what it says the dollar share will drop for 35%, while the share of pounds will be half. Gold will be added to the NFW for the first time, because it's talking about the percentages that everything will be broken up in when they go to the euros and the yuan. So they say after the changes that will be finalized in a month, the fund will hold 40% of its assets in euros, 30% in yuan, 20% in gold. The Japanese yen and the British pound will account for 5 of each. Solanov said. So.
No, that's just the percentage that it will be in the National Wealth Fund. So that's not their economy. That's just in this fund.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, so, that's NFW. All right, they ain't really.
Yeah. That's just in this fund. Gotcha. But Russia is a rival of the U.S. And typically we see fallback or backup currencies rotating over the years, but America has held it longer than any other nation in the history of the current economic model we have, largely because America has used its military might to kind of maintain its economic dominance in a lot of regards. So Russia and China have for a while been coming up with various different strategies to get that shifted away from America. And it's a lot of politicking and a lot of strategy involved in that. But if you can get the world to stop using the US dollar as the fallback currency, you essentially severely weaken you greatly weaken America's economic positioning and the leverage that America can generate globally as an economic power. And with Russia being a rival and China being an up and coming nation, that's in both of their best interests to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the mystique of America, to be able to spend the money that they have to fund their armies. So, you have the wealth component and then you have the military component. So that's America's mystique right there. If that wealth is weakened, then that's going to weaken the the militaristic part of it as well. So, people be like, well, man, we can rock with America, but America already looks weak coming off 4 years of Donald Trump. America looks
absolutely
very weak and incompetent coming off of 4 years of Donald Trump. So this is big, and I believe the tension and things that, well, not necessarily because Trump was kissing Putin's butt, but all of the relationship wasn't all good. So but that's interesting. While Trump was kissing Putin's butt, they're slowly getting rid of the U.S. dollar. So was some of that butt kissing trying to save the U.S. dollar?
I don't think so. I think Trump was totally ignorant to that.
Me too.
But it is interesting that since Trump has left office, there have been a number of countries, and towards the tail end of Trump's time in office, there were a number of countries that were trying to make moves to get the U.S. dollar to no longer be the world's reserve currency. And we see that those efforts are continuing. And we see the continued fallout of the Donald Trump presidency and the fact that Iran no longer wants to deal with America whatsoever, since he pulled out of the Iranian nuclear deal, even though all reports were that they were complying with the terms of the agreement. Now Biden is trying to get us back in that deal. And Iran is like, no, we can't trust Americans no more. And there are a number of countries out there saying that, like, no, we make a deal with one president and then the next president comes right behind him and undoes everything, which is why you typically saw a continuation of the last administration's policies in a new administration. So because it was about maintaining that trust. And now you see with Donald Trump, what he did. Now the rest of the world is like, nah, we're just not going to deal with y'all. A lot of the world is like, we just not going to deal with y'all. And I feel like this is an extension of that. Even though Russia and China have been doing this for a while, now they have a tool that they can use to galvanize other countries into doing the same thing.
Right. So that weakens the American dollar, and that further weakens a weak economy.
Right.
Because, like we said either last week or the week before, the market might be doing well, and various markets may be doing well, because when we say the market we do want to be clear, there's more than one market. But a lot of time when people are talking about the market, they're usually talking about the stock market, but there are various economic markets out there. But when just because the markets are doing well doesn't mean the actual economy itself is doing well. Because the economy of the state, country, or town that I live in has nothing to do with my personal wealth. So just getting people to understand that. So this will make the poor more poor. And this will actually widen the wealth gap between the rich and the poor, and the rich whites and black people in America. And it could potentially speed up the 2053. Which will, and for those who don't know, who are watching this episode don't know, the U.S. Black America's wealth is predicted to be zero in 2053. So this could potentially speed that up with the weakening, with the dollar becoming even more weaker, because Russia, like, we ain't messing with you, and it could cause a chain of events, because we already saw, and I'm not sure how many African countries that the U.S. benefit off of, but we already saw a number of African countries go to that African currency and try and kick out Western currencies as well. So what other nations that the U.S. dollar is in and is in big will let go of the U.S. dollar? Because everybody like, well, I mean, do we really need y'all like that?
Well, the biggest thing with Africa would be, one, China's involvement in Africa, and China is another rival that largely supports Russia in doing what they're doing to destabilize the U.S. dollar from the petrodollar and on. But the biggest fall there would be if they could get the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which gives a lot of the loans that African nations get. They get them through the IMF. if they get the IMF to no longer view the U.S. dollar as world reserve currency and say switch over to say something like the yuan or something like that, now you're talking about noticeable changes in America by American citizens to what our dollar used to be able to do versus what it would be able to do moving forward. And that's where I think, but at that point, it'll be too late. But I think that's the point that most Americans will really begin to realize, wait, something happened. So you gotta be aware of that before it happens.
And they're going to keep printing money, keep pumping that money out. They're trying to keep that illusion going. But those of us who know. And that's why we want to make sure we keep our viewers informed on what's going on in the world, stuff that actually affects us over here in America, especially our community. And the economics of America definitely affect us. And we've always affected the economy of America. Remember that too. And just a reminder, our economic situation could be a lot better if we just chose to do different and actually work together. But